Hello everyone, and I welcome you all to our channel Regalia. And our today's lecture is based on the general characteristics of fungi. In this lecture, what we are going to study is basically what is fungi and the some history of fungi in brief. And we'll study the various characteristics of fungi like its nucleus, its cell wall, its thalli, its life cycle, and so on. Let's hop into the video. Now we'll see, as you all know the topic, it is general characteristics of fungi, and we'll first see what is mycology. So mycology is the study of fungi. Okay, mycology is the study of fungi, and here's an extra fact for you that phycology is study of algae. Okay, study of alga is phycology. The word mycology means study of mushrooms. It's not the world, it's actually the word mycology. Okay, the word mycology, WORD. The word mycology means study of mushrooms. So the fungus, we say that we are studying fungi, but actually what we are doing is that we are studying mushrooms. Now, Antonia Micheli, A. Micheli, he discovered that Phytophthora infestans was the cause of late blight of potato, and it was a very breakthrough invention because at that time the Irish famine had caused an havoc, and this discovery led to a great breakthrough at that time, and hence he is also regarded as the father of plant pathology. Then comes Louis Pasteur. So Louis Pasteur, he discovered that a chemical in yeast cells converted sugar to alcohol. Now here's a small question for you, guys. Just write it in the comment box that what was the chemical or what was the enzyme. Okay, what was the chemical actually that converted sugar to alcohol? So just tell me in the comment section. Alexander Fleming, 1928, he discovered penicillin from Penicillium notatum that emerged as a wonder drug for the treatment of bacterial disease. So, in the examination, they sometimes ask that identify the wonder drug. So, it is penicillin, and it was derived at that time from Penicillium notatum. But when we say that for the industrial purposes, penicillin is extracted from Penicillium chrysogenum. Okay, Penicillium chrysogenum. For the industrial purpose, we use Penicillium chrysogenum. Now, Bakane disease, Bakane or foolish seedling disease, it is caused by fungus Gibberella fugiculae or Fusarium moniliforme. Now, what is the difference between Gibberella fugiculae and Fusarium moniliforme? Is that Gibberella fugiculae is basically the telomorph. Okay, telomorph, or we can say the sexual stage in the life cycle of Bakane disease or in the life cycle of Fusarium. Now, Fusarium moniliforme is the asexual form. Okay, or anamorph. It is an important question. It is asked in the examination many times. It has been asked in the examinations, various entrance examinations. So you should take this into consideration. Okay. Now we will see some miscellaneous points, some random points like indole acetic acid earlier was isolated from Rhizopus niger. See, I know that these points are not related to the topic, but I found these. I found some questions related to it in the in the GIF previous year as well as some state entrance examination. So I thought that I should write it down at one point. So I wrote it here. Okay. Now indole acetic acid earlier was isolated from Rhizopus niger. Baker's, a brewer's yeast from Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay. Brewer's yeast is also known as Saccharomyces cerevisiae, also called as the baker's yeast. LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide, is called the drug of century. Very important question. Okay, very important question. The drug of century. It is produced from the ergot known as Claviceps purpurea. Okay, and it is used to treat schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is basically a mental disorder, and LSD is used for treatment of schizophrenia. Okay. Now let's move on to the nutrition. So when we talk about the nutrition, it is absorptive or holophytic. So actually what does fungus does is that, suppose it's a fungus and it's a substrate. Okay, so what will fungus do is that fungus will release some kind of enzyme that will break the substrate into smaller fragments, and then it is absorbed by the fungus actually. Okay, these smaller fragments are absorbed by the fungus, and hence we say that it performs an absorptive or holophytic type of nutrition. Substrate is dissolved and then substrate is dissolved and then absorbed by releasing extracellular enzyme. Okay, so the substrate it is dissolved and then the fungus absorbs it. How? The fungus releases some kind of extracellular enzymes. Okay, enzymes that are present on the extracellular part means it dissolves the cells. Okay, the entire cells are dissolved and then it is absorbed by the extracellular enzyme. Now when we talk about the nutrition, it is basically of two types, parasitic and sporophytic, on the basis of which we say that the organism is parasite or a saprophyte. Now parasites are of two types. Okay, obligate or biotroph. Now in the examination nowadays they don't ask like name the obligate parasite, they'll ask biotroph. Okay, similarly for those parasites that are facultative, we say them they are necrotroph or they are perthotrophs. So you should be familiar with these names, because nowadays the examiner does not ask about facultative or obligate, they'll ask biotroph, necrotroph, perthotrophs. Okay, now what does facultative mean? Okay, now the word facultative literally means ability to. Okay, ability to. So simply when I say facultative parasite, the ability to be a parasite. Okay, when I say facultative parasite, I mean ability to be a parasite. So facultative parasite means the organism is originally a saprophyte, but it has the ability to become a parasite. Okay, so when I say facultative parasite, it is a saprophyte, but it has the ability to become a parasite. Now examples of some biotrophs or obligate parasite means the parasite is an organism that is dependent on some other living being. Okay, on some other living being, while a saprophyte feeds on dead and decaying matter. Dead and decaying matter. Simple. Now examples of obligate parasite: downy mildew, powdery mildew, and rust. This question was asked in the JRF 2021 examination, plant sciences. Okay, powdery mildew. The question was like identify the biotroph. Okay, and the options were like powdery mildew, pythium, phytophthora, mucor, rhizopus, etc. So you had to select this powdery mildew. Okay, now downy, powdery, and rust. Okay, facultative may you will see sclerotium and pythium. Okay, facultative parasites, sclerotium and pythium. You have to learn these examples. Now in saprophyte, similarly for saprophyte you will see like obligate saprophyte and facultative saprophyte. Okay, now for obligate saprophyte, rhizopus and mucor. Now obligate means they are completely dependent on dead and decaying organic matter and they have no other option. So example is rhizopus and mucor. Mucor is also known as the dung mold. Dung mold means it feeds on the dung. Okay, so by this also you can learn like it's obligate. Facultative in leaf spot causing like Dreschlera. Helminthosporium's new name is Dreschlera. So Dreschlera oryzae, you might have heard about the brown spot of rice, a very famous disease that led to the Bengal famine. Okay, was caused by Dreschlera oryzae, was the brown spot. Similarly, all the leaf spot, mostly the leaf spot causing disease, are facultative in nature. Now, here's a point. Saprobe leads to antibiosis or mycostasis. Okay, now what is mycostasis? The term stasis means to stop something, means production of such antibodies or fungistatic that prevent the growth of parasites. So, what the saprobe does is that saprobe basically it prevents the growth of the parasite. Okay, note lichens. So here's a small note: when we talk about the nutrition, we should not forget about lichens and mycorrhiza. So lichen is basically the combination of, it's the symbiotic relationship I should say between fungi plus an algae, and it can also be a cyanobacteria. Okay, it's an important point. Now for mycorrhiza, we all know fungi plus roots of higher plants. So I hope it's clear to you the nutrition aspect. Now, some other points related to nutrition are the slime molds. Slime molds are basically protozoans, and slime molds have mixed amoebae or plasmodia as the somatic phase. So, there are two types of phases. One is the somatic phase, and one is the germinal phase. So, the somatic phase forms the thalli. Okay, it forms the body of the entire organism. Now, why do I have to say that mixed amoebae or plasmodia? Okay, I'll tell you why, and just pay some attention on this. Now here you can see it's a phylum called Myxomycota, and here is a phylum called Acrasiomycota. It comes under slime molds. So in the phylum Myxomycota, you might be you might see like these plasmodiums. Okay, these are mature plasmodium, and these form the basically it forms the body of the entire plasmodia. Later these plasmodia, they form young sporangia, okay, which undergo meiosis. So it is basically the body of the plasmodia, myxoma, the plasmodium. Okay, it comes under Myxomycota. Similarly, in phylum Acrasiomycota, also known as the cellulose slime molds, you can see aggregated amoebas. These aggregated amoebas are nothing but these are the small, like here I've mentioned, no, mixed amoebae or plasmodia. So these aggregated amoeba are nothing but they are mixed amoebae. You can say them as they are mixed amoebae. Mixed amoebae. They are mixed amoebae, and hence we say that mixed amoebae or plasmodia. So it depends on whether the slime mold is cellular or whether it is acellular. Now, here's a common point that slime mold they basically feed on bacteria via pseudopodia. It's an important question. It is asked in the examination, so you should learn it. Okay. Now, thallus. Thallus is usually it is divided into three types. Okay, thallus is of three types. It is found in three different ways. Like first is plasmodial, second is unicellular thallus, and third is the filamentous thallus. Now thalli, when we say thalli, we mean thalli is the body of the fungi. Okay, and the typical form is filamentous. I mean, the form which is most stable or mostly found is a typical form which is filamentous. Now we'll see one by one. First is the plasmodium. What is plasmodium? Plasmodium is a big mass of multinucleate cytoplasm. We all know it moves via pseudopodia. Pseudopodia means, see, pseudo means false. Okay, pseudo means false, and podia means legs. Podia means legs. So it moves with the help of false legs. And multinucleate cytoplasm, false legs, it may behave as an obligate parasite or it may live independently. I mean, it does not depend on any kind of living host. Like an example of obligate parasite is Plasmodiophoramycota, and independently it is Myxomycota. I know you might not understand these terms right now, but it will all be covered in the classification part, which I will deal later. Okay, so you should learn that obligate parasite, Plasmodiophoro, and independently Myxomycota. And you all know Myxomycota, I have told you earlier, Myxomycota is a acellular slime mold. Okay, Myxomycota is acellular slime molds. Acellular slime molds. Slime mold. Now, note, here's a small note. Mixed amoebae, what is mixed amoebae? Mixed amoebae is uninucleate amoebas. Okay, and somatic phase in Acrasiomycota. Mixed amoebae is nothing but it is the somatic phase in Acrasiomycota or communal or cellular slime molds. Acrasiomycota is also called as the communal or cellular slime mold. Let's see, here's a small figure in the Acrasiomycota part, the cellular slime mold. These aggregated amoebas, also called as the mixed amoebas, act here as the somatic phase because it later leads to formation of gametes. Okay, like we have a somatic body and the somatic body later form gametes for us. Similarly, this aggregated mass, we should say this this aggregated mass, it acts as a somatic body. So this is what is written over here. Like mixed amoeba are the uninucleate amoeba, somatic phase and Acariciomycota, also known as the communal or cellular slime mold. Why we are saying communal? Because small amoeba, they do not fuse together, but rather they remain in a separated form, and they act as they live in a community. Okay, it moves with the help of pseudopodia, less than 10 micron in diameter and seen under phase contrast. So this unit is not much important, but this point that it is seen under a phase contrast microscope is an important point. They aggregate to form pseudoplasmodium. Okay, now plasmodium was formed in the acellular slime mold. Plasmodium was formed in the acellular slime mold, where all the small amoebas, they used to coalesce at a point and they formed a body in the acellular slime mold. But in case of pseudoplasmodium, is formed in the cellular slime mold. Pseudoplasmodium individual amoeba do not fuse but lead a communal life, as I have told you. Now unicellular fungi. Unicellular fungi, yeasts is an example of unicellular, and cellular slime molds are also unicellular fungi. Found in so yeast is found. Yeast is found in Ascomycota. Yeast is found in Basidiomycota, and also found in Zygomycota. These classes will be dealt in the classification chapter. You should not use your brain here. Now filamentous fungi. Filamentous fungi, hyphae forms mycelium. Simply you should learn is like these are hyphae, okay, and these small hyphae forms a body which is called as a mycelium. Okay, tip of a hyphae is the zone of elongation. Zone of elongation is the tip of hyphae. Hyphae grows in acropetal order. In the acropetal order, young ones is at the top. Okay, young ones is at the top and the older ones are at the base. So there are two types of order. First is the acropetal order and second one is the basipetal. In the acropetal order, the young ones are at the top, and the older ones are at the base. Okay, but in the basipetal order, young ones at the base and older ones are at the top. Okay, now the growth is measured by two types. First is increase in the radius of the fungal colony. So the fungal colony radius, when it increases, it clearly depicts that the particular filamentous fungi is growing. And second is the dry weight of fungus. Okay, the fungus dry weight. Now we'll see thalli. Thalli is of two types. First is the eucarpic and second is the holocarpic. In the eucarpic thalli, we say like it is differentiated into vegetative and reproductive part. So it's a thallus and it has a reproductive, and second is the vegetative part. But in the holocarpic, there is no such differentiation. We will see how. In the eucarpic, only part of vegetative hyphae is converted into sexual. Means a part of vegetative, means it's a vegetative part, it's only some part is converted into reproductive. But in the holocarpic, the entire vegetative phase is converted into reproductive phase. Examples are important. In the eucarpic, example is Pythium aphanidermatum, while in the holocarpic, yeast and Syncytium. Syncytium is asked in the examinations much times. Sorry, Syncytium, है ना? Syncytium is important and it is asked like Syncytium as well as yeast. Septa is of two type: primary septa and secondary adventitious septa. Primary septa is formed during division, during mitosis or during meiosis, while adventitious is not associated with any kind of nuclear division. So what it is associated with? Now adventitious is formed to delimit the sex organs and to cut off old hyphae. The old hyphae basically are the old hyphae that are of no use are cut off with the help of adventitious, or it is used to delimit the sex organs. Now in primary basically is used for division purpose, so it is used to separate the daughter cells. Adventitious hyphae is found in adventitious type of septa is found in cenocytic hyphae. So what are cenocytic hyphae? Cenocytic hyphae are multinucleated hyphae, means hyphae with no septa, what happens is that nucleus gets aggregated and it forms a multinucleate kind of condition. This is called cenocytic. While the septate hyphae, one septa, one nucleus, one septa, one nucleus, one septa, one nucleus. This is called septate. Okay, and this is cenocytic hyphae without any septation. Note, a small note, Dollypore septa. Dollypore septa is found in Basidiomycetes. It's a special kind of septa, and except ustilaginales, smuts and rust, it is found everywhere. Here's a figure of parenthyosomes. You can see Dollypore septa. It's a Dollypore septa, and here is parenthyosomes. So an entire figure. Cell wall. Cell wall is made up of chitin and glucan, beta glucan. What is chitin? Polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine units, NAG units. Okay, NAG units, NAG. Made up of cellulose. Cell wall is made up of cellulose in kingdom Oomycota or Staminophyla. It's an important question. Nucleus. About nucleus, what we can say? The nuclear membrane does not disappear but constricts like a dumbbell during nuclear division. So unlike in the mitosis, where nuclear membrane during the prophase it gets disappeared, in the mitosis of fungi, nuclear membrane does not disappear. Rather, it constricts like a dumbbell shaped, also called karyochoresis. And the membrane, however, disappears in meiosis. Membrane, however, disappears in meiosis. In the mitosis, it does not disappear, unlike in eukaryotes. Now, here's a figure you can see. This is the dumbbell shaped figure I was talking about. It's the nuclear envelope. The first part, as you can see. Secondly, it gets constricted. Okay, and then after constriction, the nuclear envelope gets separated into and it has nucleoli in it. So I think it might be clear to you now. Aggregation of hyphae and tissues. We will see some of the aggregations quickly. First is the mycelial strands. So mycelial strands are nothing. They are the aggregates of parallel undifferentiated hyphae. As you can see in the figure, these are parallel hyphae. Okay, parallel undifferentiated hyphae, and they are capable of translocating materials in both the direction. It is quite common in Basidiomycota, Esco and Deuteromycota, most common in cultivated mushrooms. So mycelial strand, which are undifferentiated strand, are common in the cultivated mushrooms, especially in the cultivated mushrooms. Second is rhizomorph, root-like aggregation. The word itself tells you that it is a root-like aggregation of highly differentiated hyphae with well-defined apical meristem. Growth tip resembles that of root tip. So they are highly differentiated, unlike the mycelial strands, and it has a well-defined apical meristem. It is found in Armillaria melia, honey fungus or honey agaric, Armillaria melia. Fungal tissues, loosely or compactly woven tissues, which are also called as the plectenchyma. Fungal tissue, loosely or compactly woven tissues called plectenchyma. Plectenchyma is basically of two types, prosenchyma and pseudoparenchyma. Plectenchyma is of two types, prosenchyma and pseudoparenchyma. Now, parenchyma you might have heard in the botany part, that these are cells, isodiametric cells that are arranged very closely to each other. Similar is the condition here, but they are false, pseudo. So first we'll see what is prosenchyma, hyphae-like parallel and loosely woven. Only this term is important for us. Okay, it's loosely woven by pseudoparenchyma, closely packed, tightly packed, and it resembles parenchyma. Sclerotium is the resting body which is formed by the aggregation of somatic hyphae. So it's basically a body that is used to protect the fungi. It is used to protect the fungi. It is a hard structure against the favorable conditions. Okay. There are various types of sclerotia. First is those sclerotia that directly produce a mycelium. So examples of such sclerotium rolfsi, sepivorum, and Rhizoctonia solani. Okay, Rhizoctonia also produces a sclerotia. So Sclerotium rolfsi, Sclerotium sepivorum may be sporogenous. I mean, the sclerotia forms a spore. Now, such examples are Botrytis cinerea. Botrytis cinerea is a classic example. May be carpogenous, in which they produce a spore fruit. Carpogenous means fruiting body producing. It produces a fruiting body. Example, sclerotinia, not sclerotia, it's sclerotinia, and claviceps purpurea. So sclerotinia example is apothecia. Apothecia is a kind of a fruiting body. Okay, it's a open fruiting body, and this perithecia, perithecia is a closed fruiting body. For now, just you should know only about what is it, and in detail you will study in the later chapters. So carpogenous, sporogenous, and directly produce mycelia. Now here's a small figure which will tell you about the various different types of fungal tissue, like the prosenchyma, okay, loosely woven, pseudoparenchyma, tightly packed, isodiametric cells, as you can see in the figure, sclerotium, hard structure, and rhizomorph, root-like aggregation. Now life cycle. Fungi are mostly haploid. Okay, they are haploid organism. They have n number of chromosomes. Okay, only a single set of chromosome is present in them. Therefore they are haploid, and the diploid zygote is terminated by meiosis. So you got the answer. Like, why it is haploid? Because the zygote which is formed, it undergoes meiosis to form n haploid cells. Okay. Now the dikaryophase is seen. What is a dikaryophase? It's a restricted phase. It's a phase where two nuclei are present for some time. They do not fuse. Okay, they will just remain inside a cell for some time. It is called a dikaryophase, and the dikaryophase is found in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. The only difference is that in ascomycetes it is for a short duration, after which it will fuse, and basidiomycetes longer duration and throughout the life cycle. It might exist throughout the life cycle. Okay. Now you will see some basic life cycles, like some basic life cycles are asexual cycle. Asexual cycle is found in all the anamorphs, all the imperfect fungi. We can say imperfect fungi where sexual reproduction is absent, hence they are called imperfect fungi, and asexual cycle is therefore found in them. Haploid cycle. Haploid cycle means the haplophase. The N phase is dominant. N phase dominant in such conditions. Okay. N phase is dominant. Example is Rhizopus and Mucor. Haploid cycle with a restricted dikaryophase. Okay, so there will be a restricted dikaryophase, but the predominant phase is a haploid. Eurotium and Teleromyces. Eurotium and Teleromyces, they are basically the telomorph stages of, or the sexual stages of, Penicillium and Aspergillus. Haploid dikaryotic cycle. So haploid dikaryotic cycle example is Ustilagomedis. Ustilagomedis is smut of maize. Smut of maize, Ustilagomedis. Okay. This type of cycle, haploid dikaryotic. See, we do not need to learn what are those cycles, how do these cycles work, because it is not in our syllabus. We just need to learn that what is the asexual cycle. Okay, I mean, what are the examples? We just need to learn the example from the GRF point of view, and what is in this cycle, it's not important. If you want to learn, you can refer GN Agrios for that. Haploid dikaryotic cycle. Dikaryotic cycle, Puccinia and Ustilago. Okay, means the predominant stage here is the dikaryotic phase. Puccinia graminis, rust, and Ustilago smut. Diploid cycle. Diploid cycle means the 2N phase is dominant. Phytophthora, Pythium, Albugo. Haploid, haplodiploid. We say it haplodiploid. Haplodiploid. So the haplodiploid cycle is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, also known as yeast. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, also known as yeast. And with this, we end our chapter. If you want more insight into the agriculture world, you can join our Telegram channel, and the link I will provide in the description box. And we also prepare students for IBPS AFO like examinations, as well as for GRF state entrance examinations. So if you are interested, you all are welcome to join our channel. So that's now for the video, guys, and I'll meet you in the next one. Thank you.